Hold up, let's get real. Welcome to Real Talk with Ronnie. On today's episode, we have board-certified dermatologist Rita Linkner.
Thank you for having me.
Rita Linkner.
Yep. Don't forget the doctor.
Don't forget it. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and the podcast, and follow me on social media at Ronnie Calra. Welcome, Dr. Linkner.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
So you are a dermatologist at Spring Street Dermatology.
Correct. Yes.
You also have your own line of skincare products.
Yes.
That I want to talk to you about.
I love skincare. I love when patients come to me with pictures of what they have in their medicine cabinets, and I'm able to kind of deconstruct what they're using and then edit in medical grade products. And I truly believe like skincare should be 5 things you do in the morning, 5 steps, and then 5 steps at night. And so once I started dabbling in it more and more, I was like, wouldn't it be great to just start with a couple of products that I just love, and I know that people that come to see me would actually love using. So I started with just a line of toner pads.
Okay.
Something to wipe your face down with to get the day off your face at night. And it's going so well, I just, over Valentine's Day, launched a lip plumper.
Amazing.
Which is fun, and I think the next thing is going to be a lash booster.
Oh, these are all things I want.
Yeah, like all things that I would use on a day-to-day basis, and just medical grade ingredients. The lip plumper, for instance, comes with a sunscreen, which is amazing.
Right.
And having a lot of fun with it, figuring out how to just like market myself and my brand and things like that, and it was just much a natural progression to kind of go into skincare.
Speaking of marketing your brand.
Yeah.
I met you at a event. It was a mom's event.
Correct.
At Union Square Play.
Yes, right before it was for Mother's Day.
It was for Mother's Day.
Jen Moness, who I've known for decades, runs that play space area.
Yep.
And we had an idea, wouldn't it be fun just to get a couple of moms and talking about like right around Mother's Day, like what the challenges are of being a working mom.
Yeah.
It's so, I don't know if it's like taboo, but everyone just wants to show on Instagram like this perfect, amazing life. Mm-hmm. When at the end of the day, like you and I know, we're up at 6 a.m, getting breakfast ready, just getting myself ready for work. Mm-hmm. It's a lot that goes on in that 90 minutes before you walk out the door and get to work. And just balance and trying to keep yourself sane. Just so many things. So I learned a lot.
Look good while you do it.
Yeah, and especially when you're in a face-forward job like we are.
Yes.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's truthful. Like, I am a salesperson.
Yeah, absolutely.
I always go in to get myself dressed in the morning. I always like to remind myself, like, oh, I'm so tired and I was up all night with these kids, but like, I have patients to see and I have to put myself together properly, and like, I make sure I'm like, the image that I want to project out there is what I want people to know. You know, I'm paying attention to details and stuff like that. So it's important
Absolutely.
to take care of yourself too. Yeah.
And I feel like you look good, you feel good.
Totally.
But that brings me to how I actually became a patient of yours. So I met you there. I started following you on Instagram, which is pretty much what I do when I meet anybody new. I mean, it's 2020, right? Like you meet somebody and you're like, follow.
I know.
And then that's how I got to know you.
Cool.
Because after a 5-minute meeting,
right.
You know, it was like very, hello, how are you? That's how I really got to know you. And she's very honest on social media and kind of goes behind the scenes with patients, but also with herself and using the products that she's selling on herself. So I thought that was super helpful, because I won't lie, I've been to other dermatologists in New York City, and it's very transactional. In and out, in and out, in and out.
Yeah.
How was, follow-up was basically like, come back into the office. Did it work? No? Sorry. Whereas with you, I was getting text messages like, are you okay? How does it feel? So that personal attention, and also me feeling like I know you because of social media.
That's so sweet. Thank you.
I think is like a differentiator. And it goes to show that regardless of your industry, she's a doctor, but social media is helping her business and helping her brand and helping her platform.
Completely, yeah.
And talk to me about your clientele. And I know that there's some like healthcare issues, but I feel like you're the dermatologist to all the influencers.
I feel like I am the dermatologist to exactly you and me. Like, honestly, like, it's not about like...
Are you saying I'm an influencer?
I mean, obviously, yes, but...
You heard it here.
The point is, I'm really trying to get into this mommy crowd.
Yes.
Like, that's how I broke through on social media. It was just like catering to, like, who would I want to go see for my face?
Absolutely.
Like, I would want someone to reach out to me the next day after I spent X amount of dollars on my face and check in to make sure that bruise is getting better. Like, I really wanted to create an environment that, like, people come to me and they're like, I feel like we're friends. And I want you to know that I'm not like acting here. Like I want to be someone that you're going to text when your son has a cut on his lip and you need it stitched at, on a Sunday morning, like you really have to be on all these touch points and really helping someone, because at the end of the day, there are so many dermatologists out there.
Right.
It's very saturated.
Right.
And it's not just getting someone to see you for the first time, but getting them to keep coming to you.
It's like a brokerage.
Right. That retention rate.
Back.
It's so true.
It's very true.
I remember there were like a set of 10 girls that I just was like dying to get through the door to come and see me when I first started practicing. And like slowly but surely I was like checking all the names off my list. And then I was like, oh my God, now I have to make sure they keep seeing me. Like so I really think over the 5 years that I've been out, I've just figured out ways to connect with people beyond just what goes on in the four walls of the exam room.
Yeah.
And so it translates towards social media and checking in on people and really just, it's you want people to send their husbands in, their mothers in. You really want it to be translational across the family.
Absolutely.
And that's how you grow a business and that's how you brand yourself. So
in any business, in any industry, it's so, so true.
Right.
I have to say, other than you being a mom and a woman, you have brown skin.
Yes.
So to me, I was like, she gets it. Like our skin is different.
Completely.
The pigmentation is different.
Totally.
We like soak up the sun differently.
Completely.
I obviously have many issues. And so Rita was really able to help me and kind of like teach me lessons. She's like, listen, stay out of the sun. Like it's true.
You'll thank me later.
Our skin really won't burn per se.
Right.
But you can still get skin cancer and it's not good for you.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I love cosmetics, but it's so important to know medically, like, what you need to do to take care of your skin. Skin of color is challenging. Mm-hmm. Pigmentation is something that literally is just like a sponge we hold on to, and you have to figure out the right active ingredients in order to make that brighten out. A lot of what I do is just mommy makeover stuff. Women don't understand how much your body goes through, not only when you gain all that weight, but when it comes right off of you and adjusting. It's exactly why menopause is so challenging. It's the same idea with those hormone fluctuations. And so you really do have to target your body and self-care, and it's the last thing you're thinking about when you're in that point when you have a brand new baby.
Right.
So it's just a lot of hand-holding and things like that. But
it's so interesting because when you have a baby, so much changes that you, on the outside, that you don't understand the science behind it on the inside. Right. And I remember before I had gone to a dermatologist and I said, I recently had a baby and now I have all these new things. And he's like, oh, well, it's because you had a baby. And I was like, okay, but help me.
Yeah.
Like, what does that mean? And he was like, sometimes it happens. And I was like,
no.
Good talk. I guess I'm leaving now. But there's a science behind it. And the more you understand, I think the better you feel about some of the changes that you have no control over.
Right. And there are fixes for all of this stuff. I mean, my theory in life is like, I never want to have plastic surgery, right? So like I've started doing a lot of these non-invasive cosmetic things early in life. I'm very transparent about it. People come into the room, they want to know what's in my face. I'm more than happy to tell you what I do to myself. As being a salesperson, you have to vet everything in order to be able to make the consumer know what they're investing in, right? So I do all of this stuff. I make sure that people understand, I'm going to recommend a product to you that I've used. I know the frequency with my skin type, what I should be using it, and we're going to adjust it to your skin type. So it's really trying to create this very personalized experience and doing it room to room to room, just like selling a house to house to house.
Exactly.
You have to figure out how to make those connections. Yep. And so I think it takes time to learn that. And I never learned that in medical school.
Nobody teaches you that.
Right, nobody teaches you how to market yourself.
You pick it up as you go.
Totally.
And also you kind of have it or you don't.
Right, it's that hustle. It's a hustle. It's in you or it's not, right?
If it's car salesman-y, people sniff it out and they're like, get away from me.
Totally. Right, so the big tip I will tell you is never be pushy.
Yeah.
I mean, people ask me for my opinion all day long, and I really never give it. It's very funny. Everyone will come to me. The first question I ask is when you look in the mirror, give me your number 1, your number 2, your number 3. Mm-hmm. And people will do that exercise with me, and then they'll ask me, no, but what's your number 1, number 2, number 3? And it doesn't matter what I think.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go home with you and be standing next to you when you're looking in the vanity at night and being like, this line bothers me now, this line. You told me what your number 1 is. Let's start with number 1, and then we'll go to number 2 and then number 3. And I always say it's like we're driving in a car, you're in the driver's seat, and I have the Google Maps, right? So I'm navigating, but you're the one that has to take us where we have to go.
Right.
So being pushy is the biggest snake oil salesman, right? yes, it's a transaction, but you never want to feel like someone's getting pressured to do anything.
I will say that I got a few things done with you, and I asked you, like, should I do more? And you're like, no, I think you're good.
Yeah.
Whereas you could have been like, yeah, like, cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. Like, keep coming back. And I would have done it. If she said, keep coming, I would have kept going.
Yeah, I mean, I trained in New York City, and I've seen how a lot of cosmetic doctors operate.
Yeah.
And I never want it to feel like it's transactional and that I'm being robotic.
Right.
And if you do that and you make people feel like you're just swiping their credit card, they'll find somebody else. It's so true.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you really do it. And we're young, like less is more,
less
right?
Is more.
Like,
less is more.
Yeah, I never want to look like I have stuff in my face, and I hope that's when you go to my waiting room and you see people who are coming to see me, you never get that sensation either.
Yeah.
So,
speaking of what's in your face, please disclose, because it looks like nothing has been done to that beautiful face of yours.
No, so I have been. The first time I ever did Botox, we'll start with Botox because that's kind of like the gateway drug. The first time I ever did Botox was before I got married. I was 27. Crow's feet was the first thing I ever did. Right now, I have over 110 units of Botox across my face and my neck. And I do my Botox on the frequency of every 4.5 months. Like I have an alarm on my phone, 4.5 months, I'll do my Botox. And it's been almost a decade now that I've been doing that, yeah.
You have no crow's feet.
I don't, and that's preventative. So everyone comes and is like, oh, is it really, truly true, right, that Botox can be preventative? And yes, like you can look at my face and you can see a decade worth of Botox in my face. You don't see lines at rest.
Do you think right before the 4.5 months, your face is...
Oh, I'm fully moving. Like I was on the Today Show the Wednesday before Friday. I put my Botox Wednesday. I was on the Today Show, and like my face was fully moving, and I was like, kind of like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm totally moving on television. I like probably should have done that. And you know what? It looked great. I thought I looked like everyone could tell what I was thinking. It was, it's nice to look natural, quote unquote, at some point. But I didn't have a line on me, and I think that's just the power of Botox and prevention with it.
Interesting.
Fillers. The first time I put fillers was under my eyes. In my tear trough area for dark circles after my first baby. So I was like 31 and a half when I did that. It was like a magician had come into the room and just like wiped away my dark circles. It was crazy. But I will tell you, every time since I did it since then, I never got that same response out of it.
Oh.
And I used to be a huge advocate for under eye filler, but I'll tell you, it starts to look less and less natural as time goes on.
Do I need under eye filler?
I
do not like my dark circles.
I'm a bigger advocate for under eyes and treating under eyes using lasers and skincare.
What do you do with the laser?
So a lot of lasers, around the eye skin in a woman is the thinnest on a woman's body. So the reason I had crow's feet first is because that's where you start to see signs of aging.
Skin.
Yeah. And then specifically postpartum, you lose all that weight and it's like you deflate. And it's easy to see it around the eyes, especially in skin of color.
Yeah.
Fillers are like a Band-Aid though. I think if you're really trying to thicken that skin and build in collagen, you should depend more on lasers, and it looks more natural. It's also technically, quote unquote, like a dangerous area to be putting fillers, so think about that, the danger that comes along with it.
Sure.
But again, lasers and then skincare, I really truly believe 50% of beautiful skin is what you do at home.
Yes.
The other 50% is what you do in the office. So there's so many good skincare things that you can do for the skin around the eyes, depending on whether it's crepey, if it's brown, if it's red, whatever it is, your dermatologist should be able to cater like a routine for your eyes specifically.
So talk to me about, because we've been talking about what happens postpartum.
Yes.
And it sounds pretty scary, but everybody should have kids. Talk to me about when you're pregnant. Are you even allowed to do anything to your skin? Are there products that are safe that you can use?
So skincare is really important during pregnancy. They're only, and I'm happy that you're asking me about this because a project that I'm really excited to be working on is doing a skincare line specifically for pregnancy.
Oh, amazing.
So we're trying to really cater it towards first trimester, second trimester, third trimester, and then that fourth trimester.
Yeah.
When women really need help with their skincare.
Nobody talks about the fourth trimester.
Nobody does.
Which, in my experience, was the hardest.
Yeah, because then you have a baby. Yeah. And they're like, what do I do with this thing?
Yes.
But yes, fourth trimester is really challenging. I don't know if the weight came off of you fast, but I came home from the hospital and I was 20 pounds lighter than when I went to the hospital.
Wow.
And so that rapid kind of weight loss, I was really worried about having stretch marks and just how your face changed.
Yeah.
Because everyone says you glow during pregnancy, and the truth is you gain a lot of weight, and so you look full, filler. Yeah. It looks like you've had filler put in, honestly. And so when that all comes off of you, you can see kind of the muscles, the ligaments, the bones a lot more clearly. And the right time to put fillers in, I always tell patients, this is a good tip, is when you're kind of within 10 pounds of when your back to pre-pregnancy weight goal is.
Interesting.
You kind of want to reinflate a little bit before you completely deflate. So when you're within that 10-pound weight area is when you should come in and start thinking about putting fillers in,
Good advice.
But anyway, the pregnancy safe skincare line, there are only a couple of active ingredients that are actually pregnancy safe.
Okay.
Glycolic acid being one, azelaic acid being another, vitamin C being a third, for instance.
Okay.
But it's about picking out the right formulation, the right product.
Combination.
Yes, the combination, putting it in the right order. And that's what I just love doing with patients. And I really do think it shouldn't be that girl at Sephora doing it with you. It should be, it's in the hands of a dermatologist that knows what's safe and what's not safe. I always defer to people's OB-GYNs just to vet and make sure that they're okay with the routines. But at the end of the day, there are ratings on all of these products. And, as long as you're staying in the safe rating, you should be safe to use it.
It's so true because even like the gifts that you get when you're pregnant are all either for the baby or for you to just like enjoy.
Right.
So, or like alleviate nausea. But there aren't any beauty products that are really on the market.
It's a gray zone, right? So we're going through a lot of like the legality of it and things like that. No one can do clinical trials on pregnant women, right?
Yeah.
So there's just a couple of active ingredients that we know are safe.
Right.
They wouldn't be first line, obviously, for anti-aging if you weren't pregnant.
Right.
But there are ones out there, and you should be using them because at the end of the day, people forget you're pregnant for 40 weeks, which is 10 months.
Right.
And your body goes through a lot of those changes in those 40 weeks, and then obviously the fourth trimester, even more changes.
So tell me, if somebody like doesn't know who you are, hasn't been a patient of yours, some tips that you would give to the general public. I know you were on the Today Show, and I'm sure that they asked you something similar, but what are like your top 5
tips of things to do at home?
Yeah.
I always say number 1 is wearing sunscreen. And I know that sounds so trite because I'm a dermatologist, but staying out of the sun and protecting your skin from UVA and UVB is how you prevent fine lines and wrinkles, sunspots, dilated blood vessels. Forget about that. We're talking now skin cancer, which is actually the most common type of cancer. Right. People don't realize. Right. Skin cancer, basal cell cancers, God forbid a melanoma. If you've ever been in a tanning bed, there's a 6-time higher risk of developing a melanoma than someone who's never been in one.
Those should be illegal.
They should be completely illegal. And I think in our lifetime, they probably will be.
I think so too. People are going away from that.
Yeah, completely.
I have a question about sunscreen. I buy 100 SPF. Is this all bullshit?
It's all bullshit. So it's a marketing ploy, kind of. You really don't block that much more UVB light when you go above a 50.
Okay, so
it's a very minuscule amount.
Wow.
So, and what happens is when you go above a 50, it's so much thicker in formulation that people inherently use less than they're supposed to be using. Ugh. So it's a huge trade-off. You're not getting that true 100 SPF level unless you're using a shot glass amount across your entire body. And people like you and I that have so much color in our skin, we can't be caked out like that.
Yeah.
So the true sweet spot, I do believe, is between a 30 and a 50.
Okay.
Closer to a 50 when you're out at the beach, when you're Monday through Friday work week, I use like a 36. So.
Yeah. My like lotion on my face lotion just in the morning already has some SPF in it, but
it should be a standalone. Like
it should be a standalone.
Yeah, you don't want to double dip on moisturizer and sunscreen.
You don't want to double dip.
No, I haven't found a product that I would recommend to someone that does both those things properly. So.
Okay,
so
on to tip number 2.
That's probably tip number 2.
Failed tip number 1. Number 2.
We'll call that one number 2. Use your moisturizer and sunscreen. Let them be independent. Vitamin C is a great active ingredient for morning routines. It actually makes your sunscreen work stronger and harder throughout the day.
Interesting.
So finding the right vitamin C for your skin type is something that's important to do and coming in and figuring out what it is.
Okay.
Vitamin A for night. So retinol is vitamin A. It's where anti-aging and anti-acne collide.
Okay.
The only time you cannot use vitamin A is if you're trying to get pregnant, you're breastfeeding. But if you're not any of those 3, you should be using it as a woman 7 nights a week, 365 days a year. Retinol. And I will tell you, I'm oftentimes a bigger advocate for over-the-counter retinols than prescription strength retinoids. I have not found a human being that can use a prescription strength retinoid every single night of the year in New York City. It's just the weather fluctuates. Yeah. It's hard to. And compliancy is really how you start to find those results with vitamin A.
Okay.
So over the counter, it might be a notch or two less strong, but it's more hydrating. They're more anti-aging peptides in the over the counter.
Are these creams or serums?
It depends what your skin needs.
Okay.
I personally, the one I like to use every single night is a cream.
Okay.
But again, coming in and figuring out, are you super duper sensitive? Do you need something that's more cream based? Are you a little bit oily? Could you go more something that doesn't have as much oil content in it and go like serum based? Yeah. Fifth one?
Yeah. Are we on fifth? Yeah.
I think so. I would tell you to find a dermatologist that understands your endpoint almost. I think, I know it's a little redundant, but like I have girls that come to me all day long and they're like, I just don't want you to make me look like somebody else. You know,
right.
It's so true. We walk on these Upper East Side streets into Bergdorf all day long and you can see that woman from a block away.
With the duck lips.
With the duck lips.
And those really surprised
yeah,
look
that
at all
alien
times.
cheeks.
Yeah.
And it's insanity.
Yeah.
And someone's putting a lot of filler in that face.
Right.
And so I get it. You really do. I hear it all day long. And my mantra really, less is more.
Yes.
You know, you start with one syringe. You can always put another one in, but right. I'm going to wait 2 weeks to do that with you.
See what it looks like. Yeah. See if you like it.
My thing with lips, and it's so silly, but this is what I do. I only use a half of a syringe in a person's lips when they come in for lip filler. The girls come back to me 2 weeks later, and you can always put the rest in. Most girls opt not to.
Interesting.
Yeah, I only put 40% of a syringe in my lips every year when I do mine. I have lips to begin with, granted, but that's all I need.
You do have lips.
Yeah,
I
so
have no lips.
No, you have lips.
I have no top lip.
Smile. You've got lips.
My husband says he won't let me do the fillers,
but that's the other thing, right? First off, men never notice anything. So
they really don't.
Yeah.
Should I just do it and not tell them?
You could, because honestly, when women come in, they're like, my husband noticed. I'm like, what does he do? Yeah. Like, how
is he a doctor?
Yeah, is he a doctor?
Right.
Because literally, I come home bruised and battered, having things done to my face. My husband never notices a thing. Ugh. My son, who's 4, notices everything.
Of course.
Yeah, but my husband never notices a thing. So don't ever think like, oh, I can't do this. My husband. At the end of the day, if your husband loves you, he wants you to be happy in the skin that you're in.
Yeah.
And remember that. And you're not gonna. This is not about breaking the bank. Not everything needs to be done in one day.
Right.
I really, truly think if I had to pick a 5th tip again, it should be a year-long game plan that your dermatologist makes for you.
Okay.
Right? Like, you come in, you do a proper consultation. What are we going to do the next time we meet? What are we going to do 3 months from now, 6 months from now, and a year from now? And you should be able to get that kind of budgeting, understand what the cost structure is, and then you start checking boxes. And that's how you invest in your image, right? Like, that's how you invest in a house that you have.
I think that tip is super important because I've noticed that you could buy Botox on Groupon.
Right.
And I really advise, I'm not a doctor, but I really advise you don't do that. And you go to a board-certified dermatologist because how crazy is that?
Yeah, you don't know what people are diluting it down with, how much they're using. At the end, you want it to look beautiful, symmetric. You're manipulating muscles in the face. It's going to last 3 to 5 months if it's done properly. You really need to go to someone who knows what they're doing and can make you look better and rested and beautiful, and that's what you're looking for. So
a little bit of real talk. I feel like the women in New York don't want people to know that they've gotten work done. Whereas if you go to LA, everyone wants you to know, I got Botox, I got fillers. You are an anomaly, but it's your business to tell people what you've got done. And you're proud of it because these are products that you're endorsing.
Right.
However, is that the case? What do you feel? I
think the taboo in New York for Botox is fading. I think every woman our age will cop to it.
Okay.
But I'll tell you, I have people on my Instagram. It's really hard. It's really easy to convince someone to go on my Instagram to do Botox.
Yeah.
It's next to impossible to ask someone to put filler on my Instagram.
They don't want people to know.
No, New Yorkers are like that. They're hush-hush when it comes to fillers. No one wants to cop to it. And I think that's part of the reason when I put up posts of me putting fillers in my face, it always tractions so well for me.
I have watched that video of you doing the split face. Yeah. We're going to show it on here. You doing that split face. I don't know. It's addicting. I can't stop watching it. Of watching the way that it's different.
And I'll tell you real talk right now. I hate doing my own Botox, but I do it for Instagram. I literally do. It hurts so much.
Do it for the gram.
But I do it because honestly, it tractions so well. That Business Insider piece that I did, it has so many views, it's crazy.
Yeah.
That being said, yes, if you go to Miami or LA, every woman will cop to what's in their face. New Yorkers, Botox they will tell you about, but nobody wants to talk about the fillers that they're doing.
I feel like New Yorkers want everyone to think that we're just naturally perfect.
No, we're all anxious New Yorkers.
But it's such a lie.
It's such a lie. Seriously.
I want to get real with Rita about some personal things.
Cool.
So I didn't know this until after following you and discovering that you're also married to a Jewish man, just like me. And you have Hindu babies just like me. Although I will say my baby looks white and your kids look Indian.
I would agree. I think my kids look more Indian.
They definitely look mixed.
They definitely look mixed.
They're so cute, by the way.
Thank you. You're so sweet. So my kids go to a school in a synagogue right now, and I think it was important. It's funny. I grew up in a Hindu household, but my parents I don't speak Gujarati. I can understand it's like in a weird part of my brain where I can understand it but not speak it. They weren't extremely pushy with us being religious.
So marrying a Jewish guy was no problem.
I grew up in Riverdale. I went to Horace Mann. I don't think it's that shocking that I married a Jewish man.
Yeah, it's actually pretty.
But when it came down time to like figure out what we were going to do for our children, I thought it was important that they have a little more semblance of, what religion is, and there's so many overlaps between Judaism and Hinduism,
I agree.
as I'm sure you know. And so it's nice to have that kind of cultural, instill that at a young age.
Yes.
So that was kind of important to both of us, and let them figure it out and figure out what they want to do.
How did you get married? Did you have a Hindu ceremony?
We did both.
So
yes.
did we?
Yes.
I thought it was important.
Yes. My Hindu ceremony was very abbreviated. It was like 45 minutes.
Same. 100% the same. And he did it in Sanskrit, but he translated everything in English.
Right, exactly.
So
same
it was
thing.
quick.
And then 3 weeks after that, we had our Jewish ceremony up in Vermont with like a,
I did both of mine the same day.
That's a lot. My sister had like 2 weddings. It's too much.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
But I love that.
Yeah. So it's very similar backgrounds.
Very similar backgrounds. Although your husband, I have to say, in a certain light, can be Punjabi.
Yeah, when I first met Evan at 4 a.m. at a nightclub in Miami, and literally I saw him at the bar and I did a double take and I was like, who's this cute Indian guy staring at me?
I love it.
And literally he's not Indian, but in certain lights when he's super tan, he can pass for like someone who's more Indian than me, honestly.
I love that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Totally.
So raising your children in New York City, tell me about that experience, because you're a working mom, you've got 2 young kids, you've got a working husband who travels a lot.
Right. It's hard.
You don't know any secrets that you're allowed to share with me?
God.
Balance? How do you do it, Rita? How do I have another kid?
2 is a lot more complicated
than 1.
Yes. I mean, Evan always thought 1 was like the huge game changer. For me, 2, it's just, when you're the organizer and the planner and the scheduler, 2's a lot. I will tell you, we finally hit a little bit of cruise control because my daughter magically potty trained herself. I don't even know how she did it. I don't even ask. My son I had to do. My daughter kind of did it on her own. But we're out of strollers. We're out of diapers. They're sleeping properly. I will tell you, both of them are in our beds every night. I don't know if this is a tip, but Asher comes in around 4 in the morning. My daughter comes in at like 2 in the morning. And I kind of love it.
My daughter comes in at 4.
Yeah. I never, ever thought I'd be that mom that would have her kids in the bed. And they sleep on the weekends until 8. And like I wake up some mornings and I'm just like holding one of their hands.
Aww.
I know there are people out there that are rolling their eyes, but I will tell you, like, co-sleeping actually is kind of great.
Listen, if it works for you, it works for you.
Yeah, you need to sleep.
And all the eye rollers, like, you have all these plans before the kids arrive.
I know.
And then they get there, and it's like, it's a joke.
Yeah.
Like, all those plans go out the window.
When Evan travels, I oftentimes will put them asleep, both of them in my bed, and I'll sleep through the night. Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you, they go to sleep so fast that way.
Yeah.
And then I can put them down at 7:30 and get work done, and like have a glass of wine, and then get back in bed and like have 2 like hot ovens next to me, which I love. No, it's really, really hard, and I'm back to working 5 days a week as of Thanksgiving, and it's exhausting. Yeah. I will tell you, I'm really tired. And
you don't look tired, though.
Thank you. It's all the shit in my face. No, but I do a lot of self-care with, just making sure that in this line of work, you kind of can't look tired, right? So it's important to prioritize yourself when you can. And if it's a massage or a drink with a girlfriend, whatever it is that makes you feel grounded and focused and like more like yourself before you had kids, like try and keep that up as much as possible.
That's a great tip.
Yeah. What's your biggest tip?
Maintain who you are.
Yeah.
Don't lose track of your likes and dislikes and your hobbies and your passion. Don't just give it up because now you have more on your plate.
Yeah,
Find
exactly.
time.
Yeah.
Find time.
Exactly.
Like, you know, working out for me was a struggle because I wasn't sleeping.
Right.
And I kept blaming.
What do you do it in the morning?
Yeah. I kept blaming that. And then I was like, nobody is making these excuses of me. Just wake up earlier. Right. And like, you're not sleeping. Get over it.
What time do you get up?
6:30.
Yeah. Wait until you have 2. You'll be up at like 6.
Well, she's in our bed at 4.
Right. And
then she's usually up around 7. So I try and get up and at least have a cup of coffee by myself when my husband and my baby are sleeping, because it's like, it's just like, I literally watch the Today Show. I drink my coffee. Yeah. And then she's up and it's like, go, go, go. Breakfast, you know, get her changed.
Totally.
Nanny comes through the door. It's like, get dressed for work, go to the gym, whatever it is. It's just like a marathon.
Completely, yeah. That's a good tip. Wake up early and have some time to yourself.
Yeah, I mean, force your kids to sleep so that you can wake up early and do that. Find something, you know, hire somebody, do whatever it takes, make your kids sleep. Yeah. And then you feel like a human again.
Completely.
So the one question I ask all my guests, if you weren't doing this, what would you be doing?
I oftentimes think about going back to becoming a meteorologist.
What?
I love the weather.
You love the weather?
I love it. And I love being on TV. And I'm like, how fun would it be to be on TV and do the weather all day?
Wait, we would have our own show, because my dream would be to be a journalist. Like, I would love to be host of the morning show or the Today Show. Or
I love being on TV too, and it's so much fun. I literally, like, I've been on it not like a handful of times, but I just, when the lights go on, it's so much fun to educate people. Yeah. And I love the weather. So if I could be like in front of one of those green walls with like a mat, I'd be so happy. Fun. And I think as a dermatologist, it'd be so fun to do too, just to be like, to talk about how the weather affects your skin. I think about it often, about going back and doing it.
Unbelievable. I would have never guessed that. That is a great answer.
I know.
I would
have you get asked that question all the time when you apply in residency, like when you apply for things as a doctor. They're like, if you weren't going to go into dermatology, like what? And I always would, anyway, it's a question I've been asked before. But
that is amazing. Yeah, you didn't skip a beat. You're like, a meteorologist, done. I love it. Well, thank you so much for coming.
No, it was so much fun. Thank you for having me.
Everyone, do not forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel or the podcast, and follow me on social media at Ronnie Calra. And also follow Dr. Linkner.
Thank you guys.
At
Rita Linkner, MD.
Thank you.